Before we started doing the show, he said, "Don't you want to come and do the show?" I said, "Sure." I learned more about Jack than I ever did when he was living.
London, when Ozzy Osbourne speaks, the rock world listens. And when he dares to name his 5 favorite Black Sabbath songs, it's not just music, it's gospel for generations of metalheads. Known as the godfather of heavy metal and the chaotic soul behind Sabbath's darkest riffs, Ozzy has rarely been one to play favorites. But whispers have emerged, fragments from interviews, backstage banter, and cryptic remarks, painting a picture of 5 tracks that may have meant more to him than all the rest. Some are iconic, others are shockingly underrated, but all of them reveal a part of the man who once sang of madness, war, and wizards with equal conviction. This isn't just a list, it's a journey through the heart of metal and through the eyes of a man who shaped it. And if you think his picks are predictable, think again, because one of them might just flip your understanding of Ozzy upside down. Birmingham, UK, Black Sabbath wasn't just a band, it was ground zero for heavy metal. And at the eye of that sonic storm stood John Michael Osbourne, better known to the world as Ozzy. With a voice that could switch from eerie calm to apocalyptic wail in a heartbeat, Ozzy didn't just front the band, he was its soul. Born in the industrial haze of Birmingham, Ozzy's raw energy gave life to Sabbath's signature sound. Heavy, haunting, and unflinchingly honest. While Tony Iommi laid down the crushing riffs and Geezer Butler conjured dark poetry, it was Ozzy who screamed those lyrics into history. So when a man like him hints at his personal favorites from a catalog that defined a genre, fans pay attention. But here's the catch, he's never handed out an official laminated top 5. Instead, clues have surfaced across decades. A stray chord in an 80s interview, a backstage comment during Ozfest, or even a song he still plays today with that glint in his eye. In this report, we pieced together those breadcrumbs. Some songs were obvious fan picks, others were emotional memories. What emerges is a portrait, not just of the music, but of Ozzy himself. This list isn't carved in stone, but it might be the closest we'll ever get to the truth. Los Angeles, if there's one Black Sabbath song that refuses to age, it's War Pigs. Clocking in at over 7 minutes of sonic rebellion, the track is more than just heavy. It's a protest in musical form. Written at the height of the Vietnam War, War Pigs wasn't subtle, and neither was Ozzy Osbourne. His voice, haunting and defiant, carried a message that was dangerously bold for its time. Those in power were the real villains. In interviews over the years, Ozzy has never shied away from praising War Pigs, often calling it one of the most powerful songs he's ever performed. It was real, he once said during a 1998 press junket. We weren't pretending to be angry, we were angry. The song's iconic siren intro, sludgy guitar, and eerie breakdown weren't just theatrics, they mirrored the chaos Ozzy saw in the world. And fans agree, ask any crowd from Sao Paulo to Tokyo, and War Pigs is the anthem that gets fists in the air and blood pumping. It's no wonder this track stands as a likely cornerstone in Ozzy's personal playlist. But what makes it extra significant is the way he's evolved with it, turning youthful fury into mature scathing critique over the decades. A song that began as a call-out became a legacy marker. London, for a man known as the Prince of Darkness, Solitude is an anomaly. No hellfire, no thundering drums, just a gentle, melancholic atmosphere that feels more like a funeral lullaby than a metal track. And yet sources close to Ozzy say this haunting piece from the Master of Reality album holds a special place in his heart. In a rare behind-the-scenes clip during a European tour, Ozzy was heard referring to Solitude as one of the most honest things we ever did. That alone speaks volumes. The track, often mistaken for a Geezer Butler composition, showcases Ozzy's most vulnerable vocal delivery, soft, trembling, almost like he's confessing something to the void. No shrieks, no rage, just sorrow. It's the kind of song that plays when the crowds are gone and the makeup's off. And while fans often gravitate towards Sabbath's heavier anthems, Solitude has quietly endured as a cult favorite, especially among listeners who understand that even rock gods feel empty sometimes. Music historians have debated whether Ozzy's affection for this song stems from his early battles with depression, addiction, or simply the burden of being the loudest man in a dark world. Whatever the reason, Solitude reveals a side of Ozzy that few dare to acknowledge, delicate, introspective, and profoundly human. Berlin, when Ozzy Osbourne first roared through Symptom of the Universe, he likely had no idea he was helping to invent thrash metal nearly a decade before the genre even had a name. Released in 1975 as part of the Sabotage album, the track is often overlooked by casual fans, but not by Ozzy himself. In multiple backstage interviews, including a now-famous chat during Ozzfest '99, he pointed to Symptom of the Universe as one of the band's most ahead-of-its-time works. And he wasn't wrong. The opening riff, crafted by Tony Iommi but brought to life through Ozzy's wild, almost manic delivery, became a template for future bands like Metallica and Slayer. Ozzy's vocal performance on this track walks a tightrope between panic and prophecy, spewing apocalyptic visions like a man who knows something the rest of us don't. What makes Symptom especially fascinating is how it transitions midway into a soft acoustic jam. Yet Ozzy never loses intensity. It's a sonic roller coaster that somehow feels completely deliberate, like Sabbath's way of saying, yeah, we can out-heavy you and then out-weird you. For Ozzy, this track is personal. It's chaotic, spiritual, and completely unfiltered, much like the man himself. It's not the most radio-friendly Sabbath song. It's not the most famous, but in Ozzy's mind, it might just be the most Sabbath. Birmingham, the rain, the thunder. That tritone riff that still sends shivers down spines. Black Sabbath, the song, not just a band, was the moment everything changed. When Ozzy Osbourne first laid down his vocals over Tony Iommi's now legendary Devil's Interval, no one, not even the band, realized they were birthing an entire genre. And yet, decades later, Ozzy still refers to Black Sabbath as the scariest thing we ever made. He said in multiple documentaries, including the BBC's Heavy Metal Britannia, that he couldn't even listen to the first mix alone in the studio. It freaked me out, he recalled. It sounded like we were summoning something. That's not hyperbole. The track's slow, lumbering pace and Ozzy's chilling delivery marked a radical departure from the blues-influenced rock of the 60s. This wasn't music to party to, it was music to hide under your bed from. And for Ozzy, it was deeply personal. He was just a working-class kid from Aston with no clue his voice would one day be equated with darkness itself. Black Sabbath wasn't just a song, it was his transformation, a sonic baptism into the abyss. And despite everything he's achieved since, he's repeatedly cited it as a turning point, not just for the band, but for him as a human being. The moment he stopped being John Osbourne and became Ozzy. Detroit. If one Black Sabbath song captured Ozzy Osbourne's unfiltered rage and youthful defiance, it's Children of the Grave. Released in 1971 on the Master of Reality album, this track wasn't just loud, it was revolutionary. It was Ozzy shouting through the smog of war, politics, and broken promises, demanding that the next generation wake up. Over a pummeling wall of guitar and drums, Ozzy's voice becomes a battle cry. Revolution in their minds, the children start to march. It wasn't just lyrics, it was prophecy. Decades later, Ozzy still names Children of the Grave as one of the most powerful performances of his career. In a 2005 interview, he said, "It's not just a song, it's a warning, and I still believe in it." Musically, it's Sabbath at their peak, tight, thunderous, and unstoppable. But emotionally, it's Ozzy staring into the future and daring it to fight back. Fans across generations have rallied behind this track as a kind of anti-establishment anthem. Punk kids in the 80s, grunge fans in the 90s, even metalcore bands today, Children of the Grave lives on in every riff that resists authority. And for Ozzy, it's always been personal, not because he wanted to lead a rebellion, but because he wanted the world to listen. This wasn't fantasy or a cult drama, it was real life, filtered through raw distortion. In a career built on chaos, Children of the Grave may just be his clearest message. London, in the end, Ozzy Osbourne's 5 favorite Black Sabbath songs were Pigs, Solitude, Symptom of the Universe, Black Sabbath, and Children of the Grave aren't just classics. They're confessions. Each track peels back a layer of the man often hidden behind eyeliner, antics, and headlines. From the anti-war fury of War Pigs to the quiet ache of Solitude, from the technical chaos of Symptom to the genre-defining terror of Black Sabbath and the revolutionary call of Children of the Grave, these songs form a personal soundtrack that charts Ozzy's emotional, spiritual, and musical evolution. They reflect a man who, despite his wild image, was never afraid to confront the world's ugliness or his own. They weren't just hits on a set list, they were moments where Ozzy, knowingly or not, bled into the music. And while fans may debate the true top 5 forever, what's undeniable is this: these songs didn't just define a band, they defined a movement, a sound, and in many ways, a broken world's need to scream. Maybe Ozzy never officially ranked them. Maybe he never needed to. Because in every growl, whisper, and scream, they were already ranked. Not on charts, but in the echoes that still rattle inside every fan who ever felt lost, angry, or just loud.